Hi, this is Robin with Crazy Art, and we are going to show you how to make the Blue Dog Band Buddy. And you'll see he looks like he's he's harder than doing a lot of the other band buddies, but he's really not. He's just a lot of different parts that you add on. So we're going to show you how to do that first. Now, when you're working with the Crazy Loom, you're going to work with it so that the posts look like they're an upside down U. And the reason that you do that is then you can add the loom, the bands from the top down, and then when you loom, you go from the bottom up. So you never have to turn the loom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a leg. He has the front leg, back legs, and his ears, as well as his tail. Those all have to be done separately on the loom. And so for the leg, that's going to be 2 bands. You're going to always use 2 bands other than one part of his body, and I'll tell you about that. But what you're going to do is you're going to start on the post, and you're going to go sets of 2 blue bands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, when you get to the bottom, so that you can loom them up, you always have to use a stopper bead. And to do a stopper bead is you take or stopper band is you take a band and you're going to wrap it around itself 2 or 3 times, and you're going to place it on that top of that last band. And then what you're going to do is the way that you then pick and loom is you push back that stopper band, and you're going to pick up this band, and you're going to go fold it. Basically, you're folding it on itself, and then you just go ahead with the next one and the next one, and just give it a wiggle and do the next one until you get to the last one that you've set up. Now, you're going to make, and I'll show you this in a second, but you're going to have to make these all ahead of time because then you're going to need the loom for setting up his body. But what you can do is, because the hook that comes with the Crazy Loom is so long, what you do is you take the hook and you put it in that last set of bands that after you've picked it, and you take it off, and you can hold on to it and store it on the top of your hook. So what you're going to see here is we've done 1 back leg already, but what you're going to have to do is we have a second back leg here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then you're going to have to do 4 sections that are 4 bands. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's a second one, a third one, and a fourth one. Those are the dog's ears and his front legs. So just to recap, his ears are 4 bands of blue. His front legs are 4 bands of blue. His back legs are 5 bands. And then the tail is 1, 2, 3, 4 blue, and then we made a little bit of white on the end. And as you see, they all have the stopper bands. So you're going to pick them all, as I had shown you with this one leg, and then you can store them all on the hook. So then the other thing you're going to have to do ahead of time is when you look at your dog, you see his face. He's got his nose, a little tongue, and then he's got a little bottom lip. Now that's going to be added on later, but we're going to make those all now. And the way that you make those is you use just the hook. So we'll do the nose first. Now for the nose, we have a black pony bead. So what we're going to do is take 2 bands, and you're going to push those 2 bands through the pony bead. And then what you're going to do is take your hook, go through 1/2, and then stretch, see the other 2 loops on the end? You're going to stretch those over the hook. So there's the nose right there. But what we're going to do is we want to make it more 3D. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 more bands, blue bands, and instead of moving these all off, you're going to just take half of it move it off the hook, and then this other half you fold back up. So see on this side you have these hooked on here. So what you're going to do, and what's neat about the Crazy Loom hook, is that you can use the whole thing. So you're going to turn it around, and you're going to do the same thing you did on this end, but do it on this side. So you're going to add 2 more bands. You're going to fold over those 2 bands off of the hook onto this band and fold it back over on itself. So see how it's made it so it's fuller? So then again, you're going to slide it down, okay? And then you're going to take 2 more blue bands, because now we want to loom it together. And these are what you're going to use. These bands are going to be what you're going to use on the loom when you make the dog. So see how I'm pulling on all of these to make the openings bigger? You're now going to take these 2 bands, and you're going to push those through the nose. So see now how his nose, it's longer. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep that on your hook. Or you can put it on if you have a toothpick, or if you have an extra hook or something, or even a pencil. You can leave it on there, because then what we're going to want to do is you're going to want to make the bottom lip and his tongue. And the way you do that is, for the tongue, is you're going to take 2 pink bands, and you're going to put it onto the hook, and you're going to twist it 2 times, 1 or 2 times, whatever you want. So you have this bundled on here. You're then going to take the 2 bands here, and what you're going to do is you're going to move those bands that you twisted on itself. You're going to put that on the bands and then fold it over. So see, that's going to be his little tongue right there. And then you're going to do the same thing for the bottom, like the bottom lip of his mouth. So you're going to take a couple bands, you're going to fold it on itself, and that also acts almost like kind of like a stopper. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 more blue bands, and you're going to move those off onto the band. So see how you have that on there? And then the little trick is hold on to the middle, and when you hold it, see, it almost looks like it's folding in on itself. So there you go. So you have that. So what you're going to end up with before you set up the body is his 2 ears. You're going to have his tail, and you have the 2 back legs. And then you have 2 more, which I have here. So you're going to end up 2 ears, 2 back legs, 2 front legs, his tail, his nose, his tongue, and his bottom lip. So we have a lot of different things to add on. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your loom, and now we're going to set up the dog. All right, so now we're going to set up our dog. So what we're going to have to do is remember to have your loom so it looks like an upside down U. And the first thing we're going to do is add on 2 locking bands. And you add those on first, because when you're done, you're going to need those bands to lock all of these bands together so that your band buddy does not come apart. And it's a good habit to get into to put that on first, because then you don't have to worry about trying to find it later. So we're going to then take, again, always 2 bands unless I say different, and that's only in the neck. So we're going to add on 2 bands to the left and 2 bands to the right. So now we're going to start already adding on our next, some of our like ears, and then you'll see down further the paws. So what we're doing is we're going to take, this is the end that has the stopper band. We're going to do the opposite end where that last band was, and you're going to put that on that same post where you just put the band to the left. You're then going to take 2 more bands. You're going to put that over that post to the next post, and then gently tug and pull the ear so it's no longer on the post, but now is hanging on the band that are between the two posts. So that technique you're going to use for the other ear, and as we go down you're going to use it for his paws and tail. So we're going to do that with the right side. We're going to add on his other ear and 2 bands. You're going to put the bands down, and then you're going to pull this so it rests in between. So we're going to continue on by adding down the middle. So we're going to go on the left, 1, 2, 3 sets of 2 blue bands. On the right side again, same thing, so it'll be 1, 2, 3 sets of bands, and then down the center it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's staggered, whatever it is on the outside, it's usually 1 set longer so that you can then finish off the face. So you see here, it's logically kind of telling you, okay, you got to close up his face so that you go diagonal from the left to the center and diagonally from the right to the center. Now, we're going to do the neck, and the neck is the only place where we use more than the 2 bands. You're going to do 3. And what that does is it just makes it sturdier. So we're going to take the 3 bands, but what's nice about the Crazy Loom is that you have that nice big tab there. So going the way we are putting on the bands, it's really easy because that big tab is there. So we're now going to go, just like what we did up top here, we're going to now, for the dog, we're going to add the shoulders, and now we're going to add his front paws. So again, as we had done before, it's the one that has just the 4 bands total, so it's the shorter of the arms and the legs or the paws that we made. And you're going to put that on the top post and slide it off just like you did with the ears. And you're going to get the other one, you're going to put that on, and you're going to add 2 more bands, and again, see how I'm holding it down there, and you slide it off so that now you have his front paws. Now you'll see on the dog there's that little tuft of what could be fur. You know, we have it on his tail. So what I've done here, you can do 2 or 3 bands here. If you want to make it a little, you know, more prominent, you can do 3 bands, but I'll just do 2 here. So that's just something you see when you look at different, you know, dogs. They have different kinds of coloring, and you can have a lot of fun with that. So what we're going to do is, like we did with the head, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 bands down on the left, 3 sets of 2 bands on the right. We already have the 1, 2, 3. And what we're going to do then is, this is where we add in the back paws. And there's a couple ways we can do this. You know what? We're going to take off that 3rd one, and we're going to slide back. So here, see, we have the back paws. So we're going to take that off for a second. All right, so we're going to put that on that post, and we're going to put the bands back in place and pull that off. So see what we have here is 1, 2, 3. So on the top one are the front paws, on the back one are the back paws. And we're going to do another set of bands, and we're going to do 1 more set, and then we're going to add the tail. And the way we add the tail is we're going to put the tail here, because the tail, remember, it's in the back. So the trick that we're going to do with that is we're going to add on the 2 bands over the center, and then carefully pull those bands off. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of tuck that in between these 2 posts. It could be either one of them. So what happens is when we loom it, that the tail will go to the back of the Band Buddy. All right, so now we're going to finish it off by adding 1, 2 more bands. And like we did with the arms and the legs, we're going to add a stopper band. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, this is my little trick, I'm going to push this to the back here so that it's easier for us to loom. But before we do that, we now have to add on the eyes, the nose, the tongue, and the connector bands. For the eyes, we're going to string on 2 pony beads onto 2 bands. And what we're going to do is 1, 2. The second set of posts, we're going to put those on, and then you separate them. Okay, so you have the eyes here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add his nose. And so we had that on the band. So what we're going to do is you take that last band that it was sitting on your hook, and just like what you did just with the eyes, you're going to separate those out, and you're going to put that on the next set of posts. So see how his little nose is there? And then the next thing we're going to add is the tongue. And as I had said before, what we're going to do is we're going to add the bottom lip later. We're going to add that. So his tongue goes right here on that next set of posts. Okay. So see, we have this here. And now we're going to add on connector bands. And what connector bands do is they keep the figures together. If you didn't put them on, what would happen is the body would come apart. It would just be like stripes. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to add, because we really want to keep all these pieces together, we're going to add an additional connector band around the eyes on the dog. And it's the only one really that you would do that with usually when you're doing a face, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to add just like a little triangle here. Whoops. Is you're going to just put it on 3 posts on the body here, and then you're going to add another one here. Okay, so let's review here, because I know there's a lot going on here for our dog. So before we start to pick and loom, you want to make sure that you've got everything in place. So we've got our locking bands up top, we've got the ears that are between the posts, we have the eyes, we have his little nose, his tongue, and we have his front paws, his back paws, and his tail. So, you know, take a look. We have the connector bands where we needed them. So once you have all that, now we can get ready to pick. So what we're going to do is you go to the last one that was put on, and that's the first one that you take off. So in this case, it's the right bands. So you're going to take those, get those 2 bands off, and you're going to put those, fold it over on itself. Again, that's what you're basically doing. You're matching it up back to its home. And then you're going to take the middle one, and you're going to put that forward. So then you want to carefully take that stopper band and put that back, because you don't want that to break. So what you're going to do now is you're going to go up one side and the other side, and I'll explain why. Now here's the connector bands. You always want to make sure the connector band is behind the hook. And you're going to go forward. And again, the connector band is behind the hook, and you're going to dig in, and you're going to go forward there. So now we're going to do the other side. Now, it's good to do either side first, you know, do the outside rows first, and then do the center row, because what'll happen is then you'll have locked in all the connector bands, so nothing will come off. You don't want anything popping off. So now we're going to go up the center again. You know, push back, see that's where the tail is. You're going to move that forward and go again, move that forward, and then the little white part. So see how these are all on here, and you'll know that you've loomed it because it looks like an upside down raindrop. And we're going to then, don't forget, you never want to forget to do the diagonal ones, because then you're going to not be happy if you forget those. And you're going to do the other one. So now we're going to go forward with the next. So this one's got a lot of bands on it, but if you push down, and you'll see the bands that are pushed up against the post, so you'll give it a good wiggle and move that forward. And so then you're going to do like what you had done here, and you're going to get the bands over here, and then you're going to take the next bands and get that over to its home, and then you finish with the center bands. Now what you can do if you want the tongue to be sticking out a little bit, you can move it up above, put your band on there, and then move the tongue back down. So then it'll stick out a little more. And like what we had done, what I had said with the body, start with the outside rows first. So pick those again, the bands that are there, the connector bands and the other for the eyes and stuff. Make sure they're behind the hook, and only dig out the bands that are here. Okay, so that's that side. You're going to then go up the left side. All right, whoop, make sure you get both bands. This is a good, it's a nice deep hook, so this hook really is good at getting these bands. And then you're going to get these. All right, and just put everything in place. So now, like we had done for the tongue, what we're going to do for the nose, see what I'm doing? I'm going to lift this up for the center. And you're going to pick and loom these. Then you'll put that back. So see, then once you pull it off, it'll really, his little nose there will stick out better. And so then you're going to continue to go up. And then don't forget the diagonal. Goes from the right to the inside. And see how I'm using my hands to push and move the bands around? Don't be afraid to do that. So see how I push down? And then you can get to those. And you put that over there. All right, now take a look and you'll see everything was loomed. We got everything. So then we're going to lock it. And so to lock it, see how we have the locking bands? And so we pull those out, and what that'll do is if you dig in, you'll see those are the bands that are closest to the post. So you're going to pick those out and just be careful, don't over pull it. So now you have the two sets of bands on the hook. Take the ones that are on top, put it underneath, and pull. All right? So now we can pull him off. Now carefully from the bottom, pull him up and off. All right, now we have a little bit of adjusting to do. Okay, so now he's kind of all over the place, our dog. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of pull on his ears and move his eyes. And what you can do is for his bottom legs, if you want to move them forward, what you're going to do is you see the loops that are here, open them up and push the leg forward so that those bands go behind it. Let's see now, so that's better, and his tail's back. And then take these bands here and move his legs forward. So what happens is the bands, when you put them behind, it moves them. So see now they're like almost like sitting. And then his tail back here. And his front paws, if you want to move his front paws forward, you can do that. There's no right or wrong with this. You can kind of adjust them to make him like you want. And you can move that forward. All right. And then there, you can move his nose. So what we have here, so we have his tongue. So now we still have his little bottom lip. So the way you can add that is you go behind with your hook and you go like right below where his tongue was, all right? And you're going to take See, keep this in your hand, but you're going to move this one back. You're going to move it back through. So see it now, that hook is back here. And then you're going to go around the other side. All right. So see how it's with the hook, and you move that to the back. So now, see how they're both back here? So here, we'll fix this. There's a little bottom lip there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take another band and you're going to put that through, and then you lock it. And so what you can then do is you can take the bands and hide it in the back here, so no one's going to see it. So then again, there's a lot of adjusting with the dog. Let's see how now he's got his, you know how a dog has their schnoz there. So see, here's his little tongue hanging out and his little nose. And here you have your Band Buddy dog. And you can change the colors, make it look like your dog, make it as fun and crazy with the different colors as you want. Enjoy your Band Buddy, and you're ready to go.